Good evening, I'm your host Mia Salazar with this Franciscan Beat News Brief. Here are your headlines for Thursday, December 5th. Coming up this Saturday from noon until 4 p.m. at Beatty Park in Steubenville, it is Christmas in the Park, an event designed for kids and families that will have multiple activities taking place throughout the afternoon. The community comes together to pull this event off. Every station in the park is run by volunteers. People bring animals for the nativity that kids can pet and feed. This community, choirs, and the bands are all coming together and are all volunteers. Last year, the park hosted about 700 guests for this event, and organizers are expecting a similar or larger number throughout the afternoon, and the park will have fires and heaters and areas to make sure the crowd can stay warm. There's about 80 parking places throughout the park, and because it's afternoon, people are coming and going and stopping at different places in the park, so parking shouldn't be a problem. In national news, Republicans are preparing a sweeping agenda for Trump's second term. A huge party line bill is being crafted using the budget reconciliation process, which would allow the passage of policies involving taxes and spending without needing any Democratic votes. Top priorities include extending the 2017 Trump tax law, boosting border reinforcement, and repelling clean energy funding. Policy is still restrictive enough that an additional cut at our next meeting will allow ample scope to later slow the pace of rate cuts if needed, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said Monday. Federal funds features indicative traders now see a 73% chance of another quarter percentage point cut in December, up from about 70% a week ago. That would mark a third consecutive decrease and would take rates down by a total of 1 percentage point for the year. Powell cautioned that his decision would depend on the coming monthly jobs report data. More Americans are looking to switch jobs than at any point in the past decade. This cooling job market, though, it's a lot easier said than done. White-collar hiring continues to slow, but workers' restlessness to find new work is intensifying, new Gallup data shows. More than half of 20,000 U.S. workers surveyed in November said they're watching for or actively seeking a new job. That's the largest share since 2015, eclipsing the so-called Great Resignation of 2021 and 2022, when millions of people quit jobs for better ones. Job satisfaction has fallen to its lowest level in recent years as employees feel more stuck and frustrated where they are, according to Gallup, whose quarterly surveys are widely viewed as a bellwether of workplace sentiment. Smaller raises and fewer promotions are spurring some of the discontent, workers say. So are cost-cutting moves and stepped-up requirements to be working in offices more often. Not too long ago, these employees could act on their dissatisfaction by finding a new job with relative ease and better pay. Now, currently they're in a holding pattern, says Gallup workplace researcher director Ben Widgert. Just 18% of workers surveyed by the polling firm said they're extremely satisfied with their current job, down from 20% a year ago and a third less than a decade ago. Can forced gratitude actually be unhealthy? 54-year-old businesswoman says it helps to acknowledge the things that are wrong. Murray was pushing back against gratitude, or at least the dark side of it, saying forcing ourselves to be grateful when we don't really feel it can be harmful to our mental well-being and our relationships, psychologists also say. This dark gratitude can prevent us from acknowledging and addressing the problems in our life, which will only make us feel worse in the long run. We can't trick ourselves into positivity, says Peggy DeLong, licensed psychologist in Long Valley, New Jersey. Tough emotions need to be addressed or they stay with us and continue to grow. Being grateful is an American tradition, especially this week, and researchers show that it has a mental and physical health benefits, including less depression and better sleep, relationships, and success at work. But gratefulness needs to be genuine in order to be effective. Performative gratitude, compelling ourselves to be grateful when we're not, is a form of toxic positivity. The energy we expend trying to avoid the uncomfortable feeling will ironically keep us focused on the problem. Then we feel guilty because we fail to be grateful. They say forced gratitude is manipulating, and it prevents us from taking responsibility to change things that make them the way we want to be. It can also make us feel like a Pollyanna, someone who's out of touch with reality, which can leave us vulnerable to people who see us as a pushover. Participants who Okay, weather for today is a high of 30 and a low of 25. Tomorrow expect temperatures of around 30 degrees, and tomorrow expect temperatures on Saturday, expect temperatures of around 20 degrees. Thank you for joining me tonight on Franciscan Beat News, and I'll see you next time.